I hope you're doing well. Are you ready for those Auburn Tigers?
Oh, I'm ready, Ryan. I'm excited. Always a fun game, and looking forward to it.
No doubt. Before we do that, let's go back. What was the biggest takeaway from Saturday's game against Chattanooga?
Well, it was a little sloppy, obviously, and not exactly what you want to see. And probably the first time all year we've kind of come out a little unprepared, and specifically a little disappointed with the offensive line play. But I'm just not dwelling on that too much. I think it's like Coach Saban said. You had so many big games back to back to back, and then you play a team like that. Sometimes it is mentally tough to get ready for it. I think it was funny how it seems like whatever you expect Coach Saban to do, he kind of does the opposite sometimes with the way he sort of reacted. He wasn't maybe as mad as everyone thought he was going to be, and was calmer about it. But that's just kind of how he does it. And I think I bet that deep down he's secretly not disappointed that they play like this, because it'll give them some ammo to kind of be ready for this week. And not that they need any more ammo, but you know what I mean. So,
were you looking on my cheat sheet? That was my next question. It was literally my next question. I had it wrote down. Is it not a perfect storm for Nick Saban?
Yeah, it kind of is a perfect storm, and the guys will be locked in, ready to roll. And I'm sure the leaders were disappointed with how the guys played. And I don't think it's obviously we're still 131-3. Not that you really ever talk about the score, even though Coach Saban actually did mention the score, which is something I've hardly ever heard him say. But all that being said, escapes without hopefully too many dramatic injuries. Hopefully those two guys that got nicked up will be okay. So that's really your main goal past winning in these games, is kind of to get through injury free. So hopefully that's what happens, especially this late in the season, and we'll be ready to roll against Auburn.
No doubt. Barrett Jones right now inside the game as we move forward right here on Tide 102.9 and 100.9. All right, so leading into the Auburn game, as you look back in your playing days, is there one Iron Bowl that sticks above the rest that you just remember more about that game than any of the other ones you played in?
Well, it has to be 2009 for me. That was the first one I played in. Probably the best game as far as of the ones we won up in 2010, which I guess on the outside looking in for a non-fan of either side was a good game, but to me it was an awful game. But 2009 I think was the one I remember. I can remember most of the plays that we called in that last drive particularly, and just kind of in the huddle before taking the field, just kind of knowing that we had to do it right there, then and there, and we were able to drive it down and score a touchdown. It was just a great feeling, and still remember the North Peter pass, the call that we had on the Roy Up Church touchdown. That was a lot of fun. Probably one of my favorite games I've ever played in, and just being in that environment, it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, and we actually had a fan. We're doing that today as we ask callers to call in and remember the great moments, their favorite moments, and that game came up a couple of minutes ago with one of our callers. Barrett, when you look at this game, can you be too hyped up for the rivalry? Because, I mean, it's both sides. I mean, it's an intense atmosphere. I mean, you can cut the intensity and the energy inside the stadium with a knife. I mean, as a media guy, I don't normally get nervous before a game. Well, I take that back. I mean, sometimes I do. But, I mean, the anxiety, you can feel it in the stadium, the energy just of the intense atmosphere of this game.
Well, no doubt. It's definitely a lot of energy. You can definitely get too hyped up. I think Coach Saban talks a lot about that 2007 game when guys were so hyped up and banging their heads against the wall and came out and kind of played flat. I think I've always been a proponent of not getting too hyped up before the game and kind of not peaking too early. You don't want to get all that emotion out. Having that much emotion takes a lot of energy away, I think, and it's good to have that energy during the game, but if you're kind of hyped up before the game, especially if it's later on in the day, it can really drain your energy to the point where when the game comes around, you feel kind of tired and fatigued. So I think that'll be something he talks about. And, just like any other game, at the end of the day, it's going to be about who executes better. And this is a good Auburn team, especially on defense. That defense, particularly the front four, is extremely capable of giving us a very hard day. So I'm sure the guys will be locked in and ready to roll. And, I'm looking for the offensive line to kind of take it upon themselves to sort of lead this game and this team, and I feel like this offense kind of goes as they go. And when they when they play poorly, the offense sometimes doesn't perform as well. And when they play well, it really opens up all our playmakers to make plays. So, they're going to have to be able to at least hold their own against a really good front here in order for us to be able to make some plays downfield and run the ball effectively.
I know you were, and I say out-of-state guys, but guys that are really outside the region. I mean, your dad played here, so you understand, the Alabama-Auburn rivalry growing up in the family that you did. But maybe some of those guys that are from out of the area, that's out of the region, did you guys that really understood the Alabama-Auburn rivalry, did you guys sort of explain how important this game is to so many folks, or was that sort of Coach Saban's job? Or I mean, did it ever come up in the locker room of how important this game is for these fans?
Well, first of all, even though I did grow up, like you said, my dad went to Alabama, I did not fully understand it. I don't think you can really fully understand it until you at least live in Alabama for a short time and kind of are around it like that, because I thought I understood it until I got there. I really didn't understand the magnitude of it until I was kind of involved in some of those games. So, and until I had to live around it I know it's in Tuscaloosa, but still just kind of being around it. It's tough to explain to people unless you've kind of lived it, sort of. And so, Coach Saban definitely talks about those kind of things a little bit, just about how important those games are. But he kind of always follows that up with, but it's about how you execute, and that's going to be the emphasis all week. Is that these rivalry games still, just like any other game, comes down to execute the plays better, and that will be what he harps on. But I think everyone understands, how important it is, and I've said it before. I think that where that shows up is in practice. You guys are going to be extremely locked in and focused in practice this week. Everyone's pretty much excited when the games come around, but I think they'll have a great week of practice because there'll be a lot of motivation and attention to detail, because when you play these guys, you're always one to win. And, I've seen some people almost jokingly say that, we could rest our starters for this game and still probably go to the playoff. But I can assure you that's not the attitude of anyone in the building. Guys, they really, really want to win this one and, be able to kind of go in riding high with some confidence into the SEC championship game.
Yeah, and I hear that talking. I mean, I just cringe when I hear that. I mean, I hear that, well, they could still, if they lose a game, they can still go to college football playoffs. Hey, listen, man, I have to live with these rascals, man. 365 days a year. And I've already wrote a check. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to cash, but Auburn guy called in about 30, 40 minutes ago, and I made him a little side bet here on the radio. I have to sing that fight song if Auburn wins, and he has to sing the Alabama fight song. I made this a couple of weeks ago with an LSU guy, and it was great to hear the LSU guy call in and sing "Yay Alabama." So, I mean, I'm already writing checks on Tuesday, man. I mean, I'm ready to. I'm not able to suit this one up, but I'm ready for this one. I mean, I'm going to skip Thanksgiving and go right into the game.
I'll make sure to text some people and tell them we got to win this one for Ryan. Just so that that'll be some extra motivation for the guys. I'm sure.
I'm sure, man. I mean, and plus here's the other part, Barrett. I don't want to go to Arizona. I want to go to Atlanta for the college football playoffs. Okay, so you win Auburn, you beat Florida, you get to go to Atlanta, and you get to see all. I mean, because really think about the advantage that is. I mean, I know that Arizona may be a better place. It's maybe warmer, but have that home field crowd advantage in the playoffs. That'd be a little extra motivation too for me. I know that's way looking past, but
I think it'll definitely be. And you look at it just from a standpoint of Alabama fatigue. I mean, I bet that a lot of the fans would appreciate an Atlanta drive, because
yes,
I know there were several people that didn't go to the playoffs. Probably thousands of people that didn't go to the semifinal last year because they were kind of saving up for the championship game. And you think, I mean, I think when you're a player, you don't really fully realize all the sacrifices that families and fans kind of have to make to go to those games. But then you realize when you have a playoff scenario where there's 2 games in 9 days, asking fans to go to both of those, that's an expensive undertaking. So I think it would be nice to have it in Atlanta so that a lot of people could just kind of drive and maybe not even have to stay the night. And I think that would be a lot better situation than having to kind of take 2 flights and hotels and everything. That stuff adds up quick.
Oh yeah. I dropped about $3,000. Thankfully, the sponsors helped me out on that, but it's an expensive trip.
Not all of us get to expense those things, man, like you did.
But it was. I had to show up like a week prior. I mean that's the and the JW Marriott where the hotel is in Arizona. It's out in the middle of nowhere. I mean it's out in the middle of the desert. I mean all you see is cactuses. So you have to take a taxi in to get something to eat. I mean it was unique. I'll listen. I'll take one of those chili dogs at the Varsity over there. That's a great place. It's easy. It's cheap. I mean Atlanta's easy to get around. 3 hours from Tuscaloosa. Come on, guys, pull this one through and keep winning. What does this game come down to, Barrett? I mean, when you look at it.
Well, I just, not to harp on it, but I'll be watching the offensive line intently, and I think the best games for our line have come against good competition this year, and so Cam has been playing really well lately, and after some people say maybe a shaky start of the season, and by the way, big congrats to him being up for the Outland. That's a huge honor and something that he's worked really hard for, and so I hope that he'll come in and play well this game because there's some extremely dynamic players up front for Auburn. And, they are a very disruptive front, always penetrating the backfield and forcing negative plays. And our offense is really not built to get behind and down in distance, and I guess no offense is really built for that. But our offense is much better when it stays on schedule and when we eliminate negative plays. So that'll be a big thing I'll watch is can the Auburn defensive line create some negative plays and get us kind of behind the sticks a little bit, and can we stay on schedule? So I'm excited to see that, and just hope that the guys kind of hold their own up there and create some big holes. And as we know, this is a run first football team that we've kind of developed into, and we got to be able to run the ball effectively. But the quarterback runs and the running back runs, in order to open up kind of the passing game downfield.
As a former Outland Trophy winner, do you get a vote? I mean, is it like some of the other awards where the past winners get a vote?
It's great. I don't think I do for this one.
Okay.
I don't want to speak too soon. I don't think I did get. I voted on several things. I'm trying to think if that's one of them or not.
Okay.
I don't think it is, and I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. I'm just asking.
But obviously, I mean, it would be an easy vote this year. So.
Okay. I'll leave it in that because I don't want you to disclose your ballot there if you do have one. Barrett, let me go back here just for a couple of minutes. When I look at this Auburn team, the area that I think you and I have talked about it so many times, balance is the key to success on the offensive side of the football. Auburn likes to run the football. Petway, according to the reports coming out today, that he should be back for the Auburn Tigers. But I don't think you could beat Alabama's defense being one-dimensional. I think you got to be balanced. I don't think there's enough balance on their offensive attack to really have a lot of success against Alabama's defense. Am I wrong?
Well, you got to feel confident going into this game. I mean, if there's anything we've done historically and this season, stop the run. That's probably still, even though we've gotten better in other areas, still the strength of our defense. So I don't disagree. I would still, as good as Auburn's defensive line is, I would still take our defensive line and feel like our front seven is strong, probably the best in the country. So you got to feel confident about that going into it. And obviously there's a lot of question marks for Auburn at quarterback, who will play quarterback and what kind of packages they'll have in. And I'm sure they'll look for ways to get the ball in space and move it around. And probably it seems like they always throw some trick plays in there when they're the underdogs. So I'm sure that guys will be ready for that, and it should be exciting. But like you said, you got to feel confident, and I would expect us to commit lots of guys to stopping the run and kind of dare them to throw the ball down the field. So it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds. But you got to feel really good about just the way things have gone the past few weeks with that side of the ball, and I feel like we can probably, hopefully not allow them to score too many points.
Okay, Barrett, what's your thoughts? What's your prediction?
That stuff I'm still developing. I think it's
me too. So am I. So I don't want to put you on the spot.
It's going to be one of the lower scoring Iron Bowls, though.
Really?
That we've seen.
Don't do this, man. You're making me nervous now. I mean,
I think I'm not trying to make you nervous. I just think it'll be a all around low scoring game. Not quite up to the LSU standards, but wouldn't. I don't know. I got to think more before I just throw a number out there. So. But I don't think it's going to be a shootout. Definitely.
Man, I just had this big butterfly go right to my stomach. I just knew you were going to tell me, like, listen, some of the callers today, Barrett, that have called in, They've got 38-6, 41-6, 33-13, 34-9, 38-14, 31-14, and I've only read like half of them, okay? And you're telling me it's going to be low scoring.
Well, I mean, look at this Auburn defense, what they've done over the past few weeks, and I mean, played a really dynamic Clemson offense and held them to, that was early in the year, but I mean, they've.
You're right.
I mean, you're right. They're a good defensive football team, and I don't think we should disrespect them by thinking we're going to score necessarily 38 points, and we might do that. But I don't think we'll have to necessarily score that many to win. I think our defense is playing really well right now, so we'll see what happens. But I'm thinking more of like a 24-7 kind of deal.
Okay. No, hey, I'll take that. I mean, as long as I can relax in that fourth quarter, and look it up real quick. I just did that.
You just want an opportunity to be complacent. Is that what you want?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'll take that 49-0 beat down from, what was that, 2012. I'll take that. I'll take that 36-0 beat down in 2008. I mean, even last year's game, even though it was a little uncomfortable there in the fourth quarter, I mean, 29-13. I'll take that. I want to be able to relax and enjoy that fourth quarter, to be able to go down and just sort of soak it all in just for a few minutes. I mean, Barry,
I'm not worrying about the score, Ryan. I'm just hope we go out there and execute our game plan. That's about the process, man. Come on.
Yeah, but Barry, let me say this. I'll never forget the thumb. The thumb. So you didn't have to go through that, okay? I know the thumb. Ooh, the thumb. Man, I could. Tommy Tuberville, he did it like a little hand crank on that thumb, and that thumb just raised up there. Fear the thumb.
I remember that was the first offer I ever got, sitting in his office, and that was probably 2006, and they had a bunch of Fear the Thumb merchandise in his office, and sitting there, and I was kind of cringing as I was an Alabama fan, but it was still cool to be in S&P coach's office. But I'll never forget seeing all that stuff there, and him offering me a scholarship. That was the first offer I ever got, was from Tommy Tuberville at Auburn. So.